Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Tennis Fans Podcast. This is Tuck.
And this is Sri.
And this is long.
Well, we're pleased to have Long back for another episode, specifically to talk about one of the topic that we have in store today, in which I think he's a very relevant participant and will give a lot of like good comments and feedback.
So a little while back, we received a message from Kaj, and we wanted to address like what he wanted us to kind of talk about.
Is it
And
because he saw like the video of you?
I think it was from the video about like my weight loss and all that stuff. Like the diet that I had at the time, and so like he wanted us to kind of go into more details on sort of tennis ideal sort of diet.
Yeah, tennis ideal sort of diet, meaning like diet when you eat on a day-to-day basis, as well as or we're talking, and then also like diet during matches.
I think so. I mean, in terms of, I can't speak for other people, but um, during like the early times of like me like losing weight and all that stuff, there had to be some sort of like adjustments. Yeah,
Yeah,
like I
because
think, I mean, we both kind of made an adjustment at some point in time, like
yeah,
maybe
because
like
it
a
was it was
year.
it was during the still during the pandemic when we started playing, and I think when we go out there and we start doing more of like hitting the ball and then just chasing down everything, it was kind of exhausting. So to kind of go and just eat a lot of stuff like like hamburgers, fries, and those kind of thing, it makes your body feel kind of heavier, at least from my perspective. For me, so that's why I think we started changing our diet to just like I remember mom was cooking like rice and ground beef on a daily basis, and I think that was just like what we eat every single day.
Yeah. So I guess like during that time, it's like for me at least, like I did lose a lot of weight at a certain point in time, but then like there was at some point like I kind of like plateaued, I think. And so like there's only so much you can do from just like the physical activity. The diet part is definitely like the other like really important part. And so like you said, like the change we made was to kind of cut down on like eating out quite a bit. And then yeah, we changed our diet to basically just rice and like kind of rotating between like different types of like ground meats.
Yeah, and I
So like
mean,
it
and
was
there
like
there was not also like a lot of option, right? Because again, there was like the pandemic. Not a lot of places were open, so we
not
had
a
to
lot
like
of places
resort.
were
Mom
open.
was cooking
I
at home a
mean,
lot, so
it wasn't bad, but like yeah, we just wrote, in order to kind of keep things like interesting, we just rotated between like I think like it was like ground beef, chicken, and like turkey.
yeah,
And then also substituted with some like like vegetables and stuff here and there, like broccoli. But yeah,
pretty
like
much.
that was the diet for a good amount of time, and I think like after that, like I started like losing a lot more weight. But um I think what I did notice though is that like because of the amount that we were playing, because I think it was especially I think we changed our diet, like it was like during the summertime, and so like it was like warmer weather outside, and so we were playing a lot more, and so because there was like we increased our like physical activity, I think eventually it was just like you're burning a lot more than you're intaking, and so like that made us lean out a little bit more. I mean, include like not just me, and I think it's you as well.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I didn't lose so much weight, but I think I went from like 165 or like the high 160 to one 152, 155. I
Oh,
lost about like 10 pounds.
what about you, Tuck? Remind me again how much weight you lost during the whole
um,
pandemic? Your whole
yeah.
thing.
So like throughout up until now, I think I've lost a total of 50 pounds, give or take. But like there was a time where it was just like I lost like 25, and then it just kind of like stayed there up until like we changed the diet a little bit, and then that's when okay,
Yeah,
the the
And you
the
lost
the,
another
the,
25.
the next part goes down, and I feel like it's definitely a necessary change. Like um you feel a lot lighter like
I
around
mean,
playing.
the thing is too is like some like maybe it's just me, but like also it helped me mentally as well. So like before going to play tennis, if you eat just like rice and ground beef, like a lighter meal, it's different than when you eat something like greasy, like a hamburger or something like that. You just go out there and you feel different. Because me and Tuk, we would play with like Aaron sometime, and then whenever Aaron's out there, like like it's no fault of his. Like he just need to, he's there all day trying to teach, right? So he needs to eat something, and things close by are like Carl's Jr. and those places. And most of the time when like, he eat those, he feel like extremely bloated. So like mentally, it affects your game as well. So like just eating like good stuff, like you go out there and you're like, hey, I didn't eat anything bad. I eat something clean, nice, and I go there, I feel fresh, and I can chase ball around.
And it's like it's sort of like I guess that's the good thing about eating the same thing over and over is that like you can trust in it to not really like have any sort of different effects in your body on a certain
Yeah.
given day because you're eating the same thing. And so like unless you're like really stepping out of that and like eating something crazy, but if it becomes like a routine, then your body will just kind of adjust to it.
Yeah, that's why the mental thing like is crazy because and that's why I said the mental part because I remember like watched a documentary about Bjorn Borg like back in the day, one of the number one tennis player in the world back then. Like during tournaments time, like he literally eat the same thing. Like he stay at the same hotel every day. He wake up and he had the same breakfast, same lunch, same dinner. No difference in diet.
Yeah, you don't want to like get. It would be bad if you have a stomach ache in the middle of your
Yeah,
match.
exactly. Yeah, so that's why like the mental thing in terms of the diet is pretty important too. Like eat something that you know. I guess it's like the
If you
moral.
trust.
Yeah,
And I mean, like that's why we kind of like joke about like going and to Indian Wells and giving Yannick Sinner like pizza. Like I mean, it's kind of like a cool thing to kind of do to remind him of like like of all these times. But it's like yeah, like they can't just accept and just eat like a random pizza from some random person because anything can happen and they don't want to like have that sort of risk because obviously it's a big tournament
yeah,
and they're investing a lot of time and money and if they happen to be sick then that's going to cost them.
yeah. But Yannick, if you're listening to this, we still would love to,
Have dinner with you
yeah, have dinner
next
with
year.
you and next year. Maybe like not buying you a pizza anymore, but we'll go to dinner after 1 year practice or something. Yeah.
And then maybe we can pay a visit to your villa in Italy if we do become like best friends or something.
And then we play tennis together with Yannick Sinner.
And then yeah, of course we'll have Long along because he was kind of like the one that kind of jump started the whole pizza thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
pizza.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think that's right. Like the moral of the story in terms of like daily diets, just eat what you know. If you're taking tennis seriously,
And you
it's my
cut
style.
down on you also, but in terms of changing diet, you mean you cut down on on fat and snacks, right? You really like, did you go from like snacking a lot to zero snacks or something like that?
I
Like
think
I'm not
during
sure, like I don't remember. You never told me the details of how you changed your diet.
yeah, I think
What
like
did you
we
like,
we we kept like the snacking to
snacking?
minimal to almost like none. At least for me, like I didn't really snack as much back then. Um, but like I think as of now though, like my diet has been definitely like a lot more lenient just because like um
We play so much.
just because we play so much and like I think our bodies kind of like burn so
Yeah,
much as well.
it's
It,
just
it just it uses a lot of energy
yeah, but
and it's like
but
our
the thing I want
metabolism
to
is
address though is like we eat those kind of stuff after we play though. Like we don't eat those kind of things before we play. Like we would go and have
yeah.
we would go and have In and Out. We would have like a large meal. I don't know, like sushi, or you can eat sushi, those kind of stuff. But that's more of like a recovery meal than like a
Yeah.
meal before you actually go and play tennis.
I think
So
like if anything, I feel like I'm eating more now than I did back then
yeah,
because like I can find myself like when I do eat out, like now like I probably like order like two different meals just because like I feel um like even if I don't finish it, I think like I mean I feel like I don't eat a lot in one sitting, but I eat um a lot more times during the day. Like I kind of split it up a lot in multiple times. So it's like it's not really like specifically like breakfast, lunch, and dinner anymore. It's just more like there's some in between there too. Yeah, so it's just more increments of eating, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you burn a lot of calories, so that's so now you're kind of even, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that's kind of like our like our take on like tenant specific diet. Like I mean,
Yeah.
it may not be like the most ideal because that's how like we don't really like follow like a
But then again, like we're not professional, right?
yeah, we're
Like
not we're not
like
professional. This
like I
is like
said, the
what
Bjorn
works
Borg
for
thing.
us.
Yeah, the Bjorn Borg, if you're a professional and you have to follow like a strict diet because your body is you're making a living with your body, so you have to really like be careful with your diet. For us, the simple story is we eat the good stuff before tennis so that we don't feel bad during play, and then after that we know our body, we exercise a lot, it deserve a treatment, so we go and we have good meals after that.
Yeah,
So
and I
yeah.
mean like it's not like we're like going out and specifically eating like junk food like every single day. It's like we're just we're eating like generally like good food. Like we're not like really like being as strict with our diet as before.
Yeah,
Like
and
we're
you
still
still
but we're eating a lot.
yeah, exactly. So I hope that answer like what's his name,
Kaj.
Kaj question. Like so I don't think Kaj you need to like be super stressed about, have to forget, like just forego what you really love eating. Just, you know, if you are eating a lot of stuff before tennis in terms of like burgers and all, tone that down a little bit and you can have those kind of thing after you play tennis. So the next topic is like diet during matches, right? Like what do you really eat during your matches or during your match that you feel comfortable in taking to like kind of help like maintaining your energy? Like yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Long? Like what do you bring? Like for me I just bring water and
Just
like
water,
Gatorade and those kind of thing,
Gatorade,
just in
water.
case like I feel a little bit like I don't have any sugar. The thing that about me sometimes, and I found myself like around this um too, is not just tennis but like during working out. Sometimes I don't know, like I eat before, but then during that moment I feel like I literally have no sugar in my body, or like I'm becoming super hungry and I need a snack bar, or otherwise I'm gonna like pass out. Those kind of stuff is like pretty scary. So and I need to do a better job of myself, like just bringing snack bar in general, just in case those scenario happen. Doesn't happen very often, but it does happen sometime, and it can ruin my session or my matches.
Oh, that's interesting
Yeah.
because that's never happened to me. I've never felt hungry when I played a match, even
Yeah.
during my 3 hour match. During my 3 hour matches, it's I just I would just I would eat a bit before the match, but not too much because it's I think I perform better if I have a semi not empty stomach, but um, semi empty.
Yeah.
But but yeah, no, I have. I mean, I do what everyone does. I take those electrolytes, um, um, and then maybe those IV packets. But for me, during the match, it don't. I've I've started cramping, um, because when you hit your 30s, it's they say that's when everything starts slowing down, and it's true what they say. 30s when I felt like my body slowed down, and I started cramping. For example, and there was, but then in terms of tips, London. I've played London Donovan. Um, I told you, and then he gave me a useful tip. He told me to hydrate more the day before, even 2 days before, because it's a whole process, and that's not something I've never done that because I don't drink that much water. But I think it may have helped. Like so, 2 days before you start drinking water, like as much what you need.
2 days.
Uh, yeah, for at least before you're going to play your match,
Then
so that your body gets used to that level of hydration, which I don't have. Um, and
that's no, no, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's one thing that he told me, and I think it kind of makes sense. And the other thing that I found that helped me during the match is
Well, before you say the other thing is like you kind of said very fast, but you play Landon Donovan, like Landon Donovan, like the soccer player who play in the World Cup in 2002 and was voted like the best young player during that tournament. Like yeah,
yeah,
not
you
not
know
for
more
for
about him than me. I
yeah, but
just
like
knew he was a US soccer celebrity, but I played
yeah,
him in
but
a tournament
and
at
he like
Bumble.
started playing like again like a lot of tournament a couple years back, right? I saw him there too. Like I remember he was playing a match against you, and you were
Yeah,
cramping badly.
yeah,
I think in like the third set to a
yeah,
point where you couldn't move. I don't think you could move.
yeah.
And then he looked over to you. Maybe that tip he gave you was probably like after the match, but like he gave you like a packet.
Yeah, he was nice enough to give me a yeah, he was really nice about it. He helped me out and gave me some kind of saline packet to dissolve in my water bottle.
He ended up
Really
winning
nice.
that match, right?
He ended up winning the
Yeah.
match. Yeah, he was just, he had no problem, because he's a world class athlete. So his fitness level was way better than. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah. So back to the other tip is one of the thing that helped me, that I just figured out is during a match, when it's sunny and I'm sweating a lot, I tend to drink a lot of water, because that's what you think, because I couldn't help myself but to drink a lot of water in between the changeovers. But what I've started doing is just sipping a very small amount of water um, on changeover, like just a little bit of water, because what I used to do was drink a lot, but there's only so much that your body can intake, and if you drink a lot, I would feel, I don't know about anyone else, but I would feel bloated during my set. Just the water's just sitting in my stomach, and I'm running with it, and it moves around, and then it also messed me up. But yeah, no, I was just thinking that the little sip thing actually helped.
It also kind of like depends from person to person as well because like how depending on like how much we sweat and all that stuff. And like I know like I'm like a huge sweater. Like you don't I don't need to do a whole lot to like start sweating like crazy. And
I'm a
especially
big
like during
sweater
the
too.
warmer weather.
Yeah, I sweat a lot too.
Yeah. And I guess like that's why like drinks like Gatorade and stuff like they have like a lot of sodium because like salt helps you retain like a lot of water. Um so you don't like just completely just sweat it out. Um and like dehydrate yourself. Basically just to kind of keep your body like still hydrated because like what happens I think with cramping is that like your body is like dehydrated, no? Is that how cramps work?
The
Yeah.
cramps, it's caused by yeah, like you said, dehydration and pretty much like a lack of exercise on that one particular muscle. So like if you don't use that muscle a lot and then you don't drink enough water, that's the part that gets cramped during during exercise.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't really remember the last time I like cramped. So like yeah, I don't remember the last time I actually cramped
No, it's just because
actually.
both of us we play tennis so much.
You
Like
guys don't cramp?
yeah, we don't really
Mm,
cramp.
that's
We
impressive.
we like just go out there, just runs everything down. It happens like the first few months when we start like just hit it playing a lot of tennis, but then after that like it just stops. It doesn't
Yeah, I
happen anymore.
remember like cramping like maybe like after I got COVID and that was just because like I didn't play for like a week or two. And like after like it was like oh yeah my body kind of just readjusted and like I think I cramped on like the first session back but after that it was like I think within a week it just I don't remember like yeah that was probably like the only other time that I felt like I've cramped.
Yeah, you might be. Maybe, yeah, it's probably due to your fitness. Have
Mm.
you those? Because for me, when I cramp, it's usually my cramps happen usually when I when I run for 3 hours. Around that's when the cramps happen. It's after so much running, my muscle are just I'm just running so much when my opponent makes me run all around, and then just at the end of it, I just start cramping, and I felt like no matter how many bananas or Gatorade I drank, I ate or drank before my match, it did not really do much to prevent my cramping.
Yeah,
Well, the thing is, we say that now, but like we forgot the one important fact is that we haven't played a lot of like matches
that's
or like
true.
crazy amount of matches, and the crazy thing that actually kills you during matches, and you may be surprised, is like serving. Like if you just go out there and play, like you just tap in your serve, that doesn't matter. But like if you actually serves right and like use every single part of your body to like hit a serve, it actually put a lot of strain on your body. And now imagine like doing that, right? Points after point, and especially when you can't hold your serve well, like you're probably serving like maybe twice the amount that you needed to serve, and you're like going to a third set. That put a lot of strain on your body, and that's where I feel like the cramp's gonna kick in. So, I'm just saying, yeah,
That could very well be the case as well.
yeah,
So I mean, but I mean, as of right now, like at least like during like our practices, like
yeah.
realistically for me, like even though we were kind of talking about like electrolyte, like taking a lot of electrolytes and all that stuff, realistically for me, like um it's been just water, um and yeah, I mean that, and honestly, like we don't really like take that many water breaks either, which I think like we should, just so then like we kind of keep the sessions a little bit longer and like at the higher level. Um, but in terms of like post practice, the only thing I've ever used is I think like Xavier was telling me to like get like Endurox. Endurox is just like kind of like a like powder that you kind of put into to water and you just mix it, and it's supposed to kind of just help with like recovery post workout.
Oh.
So
Whenever
that's,
when you drink that, I remember one time you said like, "Oh, it helps immediately." Did it help immediately?
it's almost like it helps. Well, it helps for like the next day, but I mean, sometimes I take it during, and it feels like it helps. But generally, it helps me recover a lot faster for the next session.
Wait, what is it? Endurox, like electrolyte?
I think I'm not too sure what was exactly in it, but it's meant for like post workout sort of like recovery. So like it helps with um like if you were to be like if you go to go like work out or something, and then you won't feel like as sore like the next day. Like if you take it within like the like 30 minutes after your workout, like it helps. Like I mean I've tested it where like if like one day like I don't take it like after like a workout, like it definitely like you start you feel like sore a lot more than if I do take it.
Endurox, Endurox, more endurance.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Yeah,
I don't really do any
I mean,
post-workout.
that'd be cool if we can get sponsored by Endurox too. Like we'll just have like a little container of it like just sitting right here. But yeah, like that's generally like in terms of like what we the sort of things that we put in our bodies. That's you know during our day to day or like during practice, like that. Those are the sort of things we want to talk about, and hopefully that addresses your question, Kash.
Yes, kind of going on to our next topic, which is still around like the general kind of like fitness level kind of topic. I think the biggest thing is as our body grow older. I'm into my early 30s. Long, you're approaching your mid 30s this year, and then you're in your late 20 now, but you're approaching 30. Like as your body, like you kind of mentioned earlier, like when you hit 30, everything kind of slow down a little bit. And when you say slow down, for me, I think that's true. But then also for me, like personally, it takes a little bit longer to recover from like injury. So like
Can you just like talk straight into the mic?
yeah. Um, so yeah, it's just the next topic is just generally about kind of like injury management, injury prevention, what kind of some of the things to keep in mind as you continue to like grow into your older body to kind of like prevent yourself from getting injury. Because I know in the last episode you mentioned like you got a pretty serious injury
Yeah,
like 2 years ago, right? So that yeah,
yeah.
that's kind of what I want to talk about next.
Yeah, so like I said in the last episode, I got tennis elbow, and so I think for my case of tennis elbow was is I think it's I mostly I suspect that was due to my it's form based because I hold my backhand. I used to hold my backhand with my forehand grip, and so I really think that's what and I had been doing that for a really long time in my 20s until it finally I think what happened is it finally caught up to me, and in my 30s it was just not sustainable, so I got tennis elbow. It was pretty painful. I couldn't really lift anything a specific way without it shooting a sharp pain in my body. So what um, I did some physical therapy, and I had 10 sessions. It was mostly strengthening. So what she had me do was put my forearm on the table, and taking away, just taking away in my hand, and then my wrist pointing down, and then full motion. So she had me start with lightweight, 5 pounds, and so you can use a bottle, any kind of lightweight, and then start wrist down, and then full motion up, all the way up, and then down, like this, and do it 15 times. That's the magic number, and do that maybe 3 sets a day, and also she also had me strengthen my grip. So have have I'm pinching, so that pinching motion with your fingers going like this, that's strengthening your grip pretty much, like so that you're just strong, and it doesn't, so that your muscle don't get so strained, and yeah, and then I also had a rubber band I would put on my finger, and then from inward, outward, um,
Kind of
stretching
expanding
my
it,
finger, yeah, kind of like from a fist to a full palm, like a high five. Well,
sort
sort
of
of
expanding
yeah,
it. Yeah.
expanding. So those are the two exercises that I remember that I had to do for. So I got better um, after those sessions. But the thing about tennis elbow is after she discharged me, she gave me homework, and because I felt better, the mistake that I made is I was not being diligent with my exercises, and then so it kind of stayed, it kind of stuck around the tennis elbow injury. So that's important. I'm telling you guys because it's don't make the same mistake I made. Don't just after you're done, you think you're done, but you should probably stay diligent with the exercises your physical therapist gives you. So after that, you just have to keep on doing those exercises, and then until the tennis elbow goes away, and also obviously fix your form, because if that's the root of your problem, then it's you shouldn't you should address that. You should
Yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, I know we were kind of talking about like diet and all that stuff, and our bodies just kind of naturally like burning calories and all that stuff, and that's why we're able to kind of stay in our like physical like peak. But obviously like at least we're all like I would say we're still like relatively young, and so we can't like kind of speak for um those that are like kind of older, and like because like once you get older it's gonna be kind of like it's your body is much more different. And so I think like the thing that I think we kind of take for granted a lot is like our kind of like young age right now. Some preventative measures we should kind of take a lot more is like stretching. I think that's like hugely important, and I think that's like not something that we do enough. But like if it's hard to kind of make a routine out of it, but if you can, it's much better to kind of prevent future injuries from happening. um and those injuries can be like long lasting. throughout your your whole like tennis career. So it's very important to take those preventative measures.
It's difficult, right? Because when you're out there, you just want to start playing right away because of court time. You only have an hour or so, but it's important, like he said, to uh, to stretch and really stretch the right place. Personally, I think like if people have like a Theragun or like a foam roller, and you have the time to do it before matches or before your tennis or after your tennis, I strongly suggest you like do it because all the muscle, in particularly like your shoulder, your back, your groin, and your hips, those are like very important for tennis. So
Like
you want to be able to like stretch those and make
and
sure those are very warm.
and like I think like in tennis, it's very important to be like be able to keep like fully relaxed and not super tense. And then so like with those sort of exercises, it will really help because if you are tensed up, and I think like that's also like a part of the cause as well with possibly like tennis elbow is that like if your body's tensed up, then it's almost like you're kind of arming it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's something like you don't want to do because that like you're causing like a whole lot of like stress on like your joints and all that stuff. And if you're able to kind of keep your body relaxed, then it'll take a lot of that stress away.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. The tensing up part is definitely something that I think it also contribute to my tennis elbows because I really enjoyed myself, and that's I think during that I played a match, um, and then during that match I think I do tend to tense up when I hit my shot because my especially my backhand, it doesn't look very relaxed, and I think that may have been the reason why I really enjoyed my elbow that day. So yeah, so
Yeah, and
tensing up
it
is tough.
definitely a lot of it does come, unfortunately it does come down to like technique, and I know that pretty well firsthand because like I did kind of go through a sort of minor injury myself, like kind of just starting out like playing. I first started out playing with like a full Western grip, and because of like just generally like also like I mean nothing wrong with a full Western grip. If you can make it work, then you can make it work. But for me, like I just had very bad foundations, and so like also on top of that being a very extreme grip, um, it was just like I was arming it and then also causing a whole lot of like strain on my wrist. And so eventually it just almost became kind of like there was a point in time like like we talked about this, and you like you witnessed it too. Like I just I just couldn't hit a forehand because like it just hurt so much
Ooh,
like on my wrist.
yeah,
Like it was like that day I was just like crap, like I might have to like quit and just like not be able to play. And so like the only other option was like to just like switch grip, and eventually like that lessened a lot of like the strain on that part like on my wrist. And then everything else kind of came along, kind of just the idea of using less of your arms and just keeping everything relaxed, like that is more important than you think.
Yeah, put less strain in your body for sure. I agree with that. And
Like yeah, it's
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 tough.
important to like really distribute everything like evenly throughout your entire body and not really any specific part of your body. Like you don't want to be like you don't want to be like, oh, putting every stress on like only your legs or something like that. Your whole body is working, and that's why tennis is like a full body sport. And it's really important that like you don't put stress on any certain part
yeah,
because it's very prone to injury.
Warming up is pretty key because it's important. And then another thing that they kind of transition into is like um, mini tennis. Right? Like I've seen a lot of people. Like I think not. I don't. It varies too, depending on the person how they feel. But I've seen like Nadal doesn't really do mini tennis, but there are some pro out there that like does mini tennis when they first started out just to feel the ball. I guess it's more of like a feel thing rather than like a warming up kind of thing. But personally, for me, I like doing it because you actually like I use it as an opportunity to work my feet more than like my hand,
Yeah,
and
get your
that's
feet
one.
moving,
Yeah, to
right?
get your feet moving,
Yeah.
because like in tennis, just kind of like go off of what he said is like it's really like the feet and the footwork is so important depending on the player again, but for me, like I'm the type of player that really like I need to be able to move my feet well in order to play well. So yeah, like mini tennis is important to me to really work the feet, to get out the feet movement. Yeah.
Yeah, I only do 5 minutes of mini tennis. I don't. I used to do more than that, but I felt like it doesn't help me in terms of striking the ball, but it does help in terms of getting my feet moving and
Yeah.
just like in
And get
movement
that
stuff.
reaction time.
Yeah.
And
So
honestly, like playing mini tennis, you should pretty much be doing the exact same thing as if you were at the baseline. I mean, I remember um starting out back then, and I was just like why the hell are we doing mini tennis? Like it just makes me more exhausted for like the sessions later on. But like as I'm doing it more, it's like you really need to like what you the movement the sort of movements that you do in mini tennis you should like or like the sort of movements that you do at the baseline should be the same sort of movements you do for mini tennis. Like you're using your legs the same way. You're like basically everything, your techniques. You have to kind of use it there, but obviously within a more controlled fashion, so then it kind of stays in. But that's generally to kind of like get your body used to that movement and warming up those parts of your
Yeah.
body.
And the one thing I want to address is like there you have to use mini tennis right if you're actually going to use it. And what I mean by that is I used to do this back in the day when I was like earlier, maybe like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when I started playing mini tennis, or when start using mini tennis to like as a warm up. Me and Chris would be like mini tennis, right? And then you start at the service line and you hit from one to another, and then after like 5-10 minutes, you're like, okay, I'm ready. You want to go back, and you go back right away to the baseline. That is such a fast transition, right? You literally from one place to all the way back to the baseline. What I've seen the pros do and what I've started doing recently that really helped is yes, at first your feet should be at the baseline, but then you start moving back slowly. Maybe not all the way to at the service line, but then you start moving back slowly. So not necessarily like all the way to the baseline right away, but slowly backing up, building that distance to a more distant when you're comfortable, and you gradually building that all the way to the baseline.
yeah, I feel like not
Yeah.
many people do that.
Yeah, you should that's what you should like personally for me. I feel like that's the best way to use mini tennis, not to be like, oh, let's play mini tennis at the service line for 10 minutes, now let's go back to the baseline right away.
And I think like like something that kind of jump started like sort of our viewpoints on like mini tennis is I think one of the videos from Carousel from my tennis HQ, at least for me, like I think it was one of the videos where he was practicing with Naomi Osaka, I think. And like I mean even yeah, like even with the pros, like they still do mini tennis to kind of start out with. And I think also in the video he kind of goes into more like the different details, but you can check it out yourself. But um yeah, I think it's pretty important. To each their own, but I personally find mini tennis pretty useful.
Yeah, the last thing for me, I think for the topic today is really like, does working out and building muscle help your tennis game? Is the question. And when I say building muscle as well, it can be a couple of things. You go to the gym, you do chest, you do workout, you make your arms bigger, and you do more running. Does that actually like help translate into a better tennis game?
So, because of my tennis elbow, I started going to a gym, um, but I mean, I haven't felt any. Um, I don't think it actually changed anything for me personally. But maybe it might be because I'm not working the muscle specifically made for tennis. I don't remember which ones, but it's probably arms. I'm just doing biceps, chest, I do really basic stuff.
Do
So
you
it's
happen to know if you were using like free weights or like machine or something like that?
uh, it was dumbbells, yeah,
Okay.
free weights. I was not really using machines. For the leg machine, I was not really doing too much of that, but it's for me it's tough. I don't know. I'm not sure if going to a gym actually helps.
Generally, I don't think tennis play like from what I've seen, like the professional tennis players, they're not like huge, but they are pretty like they're pretty lean and muscular.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, this is not coming from me, but I think this is gonna be a very good topic when we have Aaron coming on to talk about this topic later on. But Aaron is like a known like workout freak outside of tennis. Like, he does crazy amount of workout. And one of the things that he told me, if you take a look at like my body and your body, and you compare it to like a Division 1 college tennis player, is different.
Yeah.
You see like those open level player guys, right? Like, they're clearly, I wouldn't say like bigger in terms of like stronger and like bigger muscle, but they have like muscle and definition.
It's well defined. Yeah,
Yeah, it's very
you can see
very
the
well
shape.
defined,
Yeah.
and they go to the gym and they work out, but they don't work out to like get bigger, and like their objective is different than like a bodybuilder kind of guy. Their objective is to work all the key part of their muscle to like help enhancing their tennis. And there's a sacrifice that will have to come into your game if you're gonna willing to do that. So you're gonna go to the gym, and for example, like one of the big thing is your shoulder, right? Your shoulder is pretty key in your serve. You want to build a bigger shoulder. So what Aaron told me is like, for those kind of guy, and he can probably talk about this more in detail and when he comes onto the podcast in the future. But when you build out those muscle, you have to you have to be willing to sacrifice playing good tennis for a while, because now your body is adjusting to having more meat around that area, and you have to kind of like adapt to having more part around that. But then down the road, it's gonna adapt, and that part is gonna make your serve stronger or your forehand stronger because that part of your body is bigger. But working out does help with tennis, but you have to work out the right muscle in the right part of your body, and there's gonna have to be that's why it's so critical for you to like. I want to be extremely careful because, we play tennis with Alex, and
Yeah.
then there was time when Alex, like his dad told me like, oh, Alex, start going to the gym and like start lifting.
Oh,
And one of the things that like Aaron told him is like, you have to be very careful what you're working out, because there was one time when he just like going to the gym lifting, and then he has a back problem.
Yeah.
So you have to like, it does help, but you need to be able to have like good coaching and a good trainer to work on your tennis specific muscle, and be willing to acknowledge the fact that when you build out that muscle, it's gonna take your body some time to adapt to that new tool that you have.
And like we said, right? Like tennis players, they're not huge. They're not going to the gym to get really big. And just my theory, like I don't really have any sort of like professional like sort of support in terms of like training outside of tennis. But what I would like to think is that like from and then also like just seeing like workout videos for of the professionals like training is that they're working a whole lot of like more like sort of stabilizing muscle. Like they're doing a lot of dynamic sort of like workouts. And so like it's very important. Like for me, what I do at the gym is I do a lot of like squats and lunges and sprints. And that really like for me, like it's really benefited me. Like I see like a huge difference in some of like the shots that I couldn't do before. And it's and I think most of it is due to like the specific workout and that like you're working out that specific muscle group, but then also like it really helps with like your body's ability to stabilize with those specific motions. Because like there's you can only do so much with actually playing tennis because like your body is used to handling your body weight at this point, but you need to kind of push it a little bit further beyond, and that like okay, if I were to deal with more weight on my body, like especially with like someone that's a way bigger hitter than you are, it's gonna be a lot more for your body to handle, and also, you know, stabilize itself and keep balanced. And so like doing these sort of exercises will help you, you know, your body like be stronger for those situations.
Yeah, it go back to what you were saying earlier. Like for those heavier player, their ball is very flat and heavy or strong, and sometimes it's hard to manipulate. The best way you can counter that is to build some muscle of your own to be able to counter that, right?
And
That's
that
tough.
that
Yeah.
also goes to say, like, going back to the whole Alex thing, like it's very important not to try to rush the process as well, because if like I've done the sort of like I'm not I'm you know, I've fallen guilty to this as well. Like you can't just go in and expect yourself to be able to, you know, do like a large amount of weight. Like the big lesson here is to not to ego lift. And ego lifting is like, you know, like you're trying to be the cool guy and, like, you know, trying to like say boast that you're lifting a lot of weights, but you don't want to do that, because that could have very long-term effects on your body. It's very important to kind of just pace yourself and just take it one step at a time, because you do not want to mess with it.
The moral is, for me, like I said, it does help because it's important. Like you see the transformation. Like if you take a look at Alcaraz when he first broke on the scene, in 2020, after the pandemic, super skinny,
He's very skinny.
super skinny. But then 2021 is when he's like you see like these video of him like start training like crazy on the side, like doing like dynamic, explosive type of workout. You know, like doing weight, but like small weight. But then you see like him doing like workout in the sand and everything like that, and then doing like cardio endurance. His body just transformed, but transformed into lean, like muscular, but muscular in like all the key area of his body, like his quads, his calves, like his arm, his shoulder, like very lean in the middle, like doesn't carry so much excessive weight, but still very healthy. And like that's why he become like so good. And like I said, I think just because he plays every single day, alongside that, I think he still play very well. And it combined with his, but I think like I said, when you go through that transformation, your tennis is gonna have an impact. It's gonna have an impact on your tennis a little bit, and just be patient through that. That's what I've been told. And you know, the unfortunate part is like, I don't want to start talking about like favorite player here and there, but like Yannick Sinner hasn't gone through that transformation yet, and I'm actually kind of worried for him. I don't want to like go off topic, right?
Yeah.
But like that's what I'm talking about. Is like, are you willing to sacrifice your body type? That's the big decision
And,
for
I
everybody's
mean,
out there.
But
I will-
you're
that
saying
you have
that
to take.
because Yannick is very he's quite slim, right?
He's like, if you look at
He's a
him,
very
he's
skinny
he's
guy.
the same body type, maybe a little bit bigger, but like you don't see that transformation as you see in Alcaraz. Because if you look at a video of him in 2019 when he first broke on the scene, and him now, like, to be honest, like by all means, like he's my favorite player, right? One of my favorite player, but he hasn't body type. He hasn't really transformed.
Yeah, and I was talking with Aaron about this too, and he's like, dude, like, you know, he needs to put on weight in order to kind of deal with like the players that are opposing him. Like, yes, like right now he hits incredibly hard and all that stuff. Like people would say like, oh, he's Yannick is like, he hits super hard on both wings, but like I don't think he's really reached his potential
That's the thing.
because of
And-
his
and that's-
physical.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's important for everybody out here to know this conversation, because personally, it's really up to individual. Does he want to take that risk? If you are a good junior player and you've been killing it and you've been playing really well and you're beating everybody and you're like at the top of your game, now you have to make a decision, because like I said, it's going to impact your game. That's what Aaron said. Like, unless I don't know how Alcaraz did it. We don't know that. That's maybe as a secret. But when you make a transition, when you go through that transition and your body is different, you're gonna, I don't want to skip, you're gonna suck. That's what Aaron said. You're gonna suck for a while until you get better. So does Yannick Sinner willing to take that risk is the problem. He's playing out of his mind right now. He's beating everybody. But
He
is
can't
he
make
going
it all
to
the way through.
is he gonna take that risk or say, okay, I know I'm killing it right now, but my body, I'm kind of wimpy right now. Do I want to go through that transformation that Alcaraz went through and really transform? And I'm using him as an example, but I'm using myself as well. Like, am I willing to, kind of stop playing as much tennis, but now like work out more? or like do the dynamic stuff that Alcaraz went through. It will help for sure, but it's gonna have an impact. Is what I'm saying.
Like I think personally for me, like that's something that I needed, and like that's why like for me like I took the time to kind of like start going to the gym a lot more outside of like tennis. Not so much recently, obviously, but like that has generally helped a lot. You know, specifically for me, like I think like with tennis and like your legs being a huge part of tennis, that's something I wanted to target, and it's helped out a lot. You know, working out my legs. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Aaron episode where he talks about.
You know,
Putting
I
some
think
meat.
that will be very interesting because he definitely will have a lot to say in terms of like just like the physical
Aspect of the game.
strength building and all that stuff.
Between
That's all the topics we wanted to cover for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and thank you to Long for you know coming back to even though it's just been one episode, and just to kind of like be here and talk to us about these topics.
Yeah, your
I think
experience.
we are the tennis fans on all social media.
Yeah.
Hope you guys give us a follow if you guys enjoyed listening, and also hope that you guys have a wonderful week up ahead. This has been the Tennis Fans Podcast. Thank you.
Thank you guys.